Hello everyone, myself Navya. I'm an assistant professor from the Department of CSIT in MLR Institutions of Technology. Welcome to the session Object-Oriented Programming through Java. In this session, we are going to learn what are the classes and interfaces which support for JDBC. In the last session, we have seen what is Java database connectivity and what is the architecture of JDBC and types of architectures, as well as why we are using JDBC, and we have seen what are drivers, 4 types of drivers of JDBC we have seen. In this session, we are going to see what are the interfaces which are built-in interfaces used in order to support JDBC, and what are the classes used for JDBC, and what are the software requirement in order to execute a JDBC program. Coming to the interfaces of JDBC API. So, in order to use the JDBC, we are having some built-in classes and interfaces. So, here are some of the list for that particular JDBC. First one is driver interface, connection interface, statement interface, prepared statement interface, result set interface, result set metadata interface. Some more are the database metadata interface, like that. So, but the most popular interfaces are these 6. So, in this session, we are going to see all these 6 interfaces in the session. Coming to the first interface, which is driver interface. So, driver interface is available in java.sql package. In order to use this particular interface, in order to use driver interface, for sure you have to import java.sql package to your program, and this provides the basic service for managing a set of JDBC drivers. And see, this is an example program for Java driver. So, here it's a driver example. I'm having driver and driver manager. I have to create an instance for a driver, and with help of com.mysql.jdbc driver. So, we are calling this method. And next, driver manager.u has to register this particular driver. What type of driver I am using? I am using for MySQL. So, I am writing the driver for MySQL. Coming to the next, connection interface. So, connection interface which is used to establish the connection between the Java to the database. So, it represents a connection to a database, and here is an example program. Let us do this. So, java.sql.connection, java.sql.driver manager, or you can directly go with java.sql.star. So, which can apply for all the interfaces and classes of SQL. And next, here I am taking a URL called JDBC MySQL localhost 3306 and my database, and username is root and password is root for my particular workbench, and connection you have to create an instance for a connection. So, driver manager.get connection, you have to supply the URL, username and password here, such that it will get connected to SQL. Okay, this URL, first you are establishing the JDBC connection, next MySQL to MySQL, and what was the local host you are particularly on, and what is your database name. So, this is for database name, and this is port address, and this is schema name, and this is what type of database here you are using, which type of connection here. If it will return you by this statement, it will return you the get connection. If the connection is null, it is said not equals to null, you can say that it is connected to database, else it is failed to connect the database. Okay, we need an API for this. Here I am using IntelliJ as my API. IntelliJ is my API. So here I am taking a connection, the same thing. The connection. Now if connection not equals to null value, then I am printing connection established, else connection not established. So here when I run this program, so when I run this one, you can see that connection established. So it will return you the connection here. So this is how we are going to connect the Java 2 interface using connection interface. And coming to the next one, other interfaces are the statement interface. The statement interface is used to execute a static SQL statement and return result to its producers. So here is a syntax connection. You have to go with a connection, and next you have to use a statement, create statement. So you have to create an instance for the statement using create statement method using that previous connection. And next, prepared statement. Prepared statement is also the same. The prepared statement interface represents a pre-compiled SQL statement that can be executed multi times with different input parameters, but here it will go with only one statement. It can executed multiple times with different parameters. That was the difference between a statement and a prepared statement. And here is a syntax. You have to give an SQL statement here, and next prepared statement you have to create an instance for the prepared statement, then prepared statement of SQL statement. Some more interfaces are result set interface. Result set interface is which represents the result set of database queries. In order to have any data values from the database, if you want to retrieve the data values from the database, you are going to use result set. So here is the syntax. So here result set R equals to, you have to execute the query so that what are the records present in that particular table, that would be saved in the result set. And the next one is result set metadata. Here result set metadata provides the information about the columns in a result set object. So here is the syntax for the result set object. So result set metadata equals to result set dot, after executing this query, you have to perform result set metadata. Get metadata is used to get data in the form of columns. So these are the interfaces of this particular JDBC connection. Coming to the classes, we are having a number of classes like driver manager class and blob class and clob class as well as types class. So explicitly we won't use much here. We are going to use the driver manager class here. So driver manager class manages the list of database drivers. So it is used to establish the connection between the Java program or Java API to the database connectivity. Here there are the key methods which are used driver manager class here. So get connection, you has to supply an URL for the get connection method. It will establish the connection between the Java API and the database. And next, register driver. When you are using driver interface, you has to use register driver for sure. In order, if you doesn't use a driver interface, you can directly go with an get connection directly. Here, whatever the driver you are using with a driver class, that object has to be, that instance has to be supplied to the register driver. So, for the driver interface, you has to supply the particular URL for the database, JDBC database, and here it registers the given driver with the driver manager class. And here is a syntax. See here, connection equals to driver manager dot get connection. You have to give the URL, username and password. So coming to the software requirements, what are the software I am using here? We can use any number of Java APIs like IntelliJ, Eclipse, VS Code and all. But here I am using the software called IntelliJ to write the Java programs in that. So here is my API, and next I am using for database. This is for Java programs, for Java software. For database, I am using MySQL, is my database software for MySQL. And next the third one is MySQL Workbench. In order to execute the statements of MySQL, I has to use the MySQL Workbench here. And the fourth one is MySQL Connector J, which is used for the connecting MySQL with JDBC. I just want to use the MySQL Connector J. So this is a connector. So let me show you how you are going to connect. Let me show you how you are going to connect the Java with database. First, you are having some prerequisites in order to use all the software requirements. Here is my IntelliJ software. This is my IntelliJ software, and coming to MySQL having the MySQL command line as well as MySQL Workbench. So here, in order to connect this, so I just want to go with MySQL Workbench first. This is MySQL Workbench. When you open the MySQL Workbench, here you are having local instance by MySQL34, and here you are having the root as username and localhost 3306, which we have to mention in the program there. So as a port number, and when you click on this, you will have the username and password, and the password I have already, while installing the Workbench, I have kept as root. So I am taking this as root. So here is how the API looks like. Okay, how the API look like is this. So here, in order first we have to create a schema. So I just want to create the schema. So my new schema name is JDBC demo. Okay, so I just want to apply it. Okay. After completion of this, here in the schemas, you are able to see the JDBC demo. Okay, so here the tables and all you can see here. Now here go to the tables and go on to create table. I just want to create a table. So I just want to create a student table. Okay, student table. First I should have name of the student, and that should be marker. I can go with 45 as a value. And it's not a primary key. Next, roll number should be an unique, isn't it? Roll number. So it's a primary key. And I just want to go with the age of a student. Age. And next, what was his branch? I just want to go with college name also. College name. Okay. So, this is my student. So, I just want to go apply the changes here. Okay. Apply. Finish. So, here I can see the tables. When I click JDBC schema tables, here the student tables have been appeared. So, here in the query I can use JDBC demo, select star from student. So, when I click on run, so here I could be able to see that a table is created with name, roll number, age, branch and college name. So, in the further classes, we are going to use this table as well as this database here. What was my database name? What was my schema or database name? My database name is JDBC demo and my table name is student. And I have the columns of 5. One is name, roll number, age, branch and college name. So, this is what my SQL workbench. In order to connect the SQL workbench, if you want to use, I just want to use the IntelliJ software, I has to create a project for sure. So, go to settings and you has to go with new and project, and here I has to create the project name. As I am taking the same JDBC demo is my project name. Okay, and I am creating a project here. So, this is my project I have got. Okay, so when I run the program, I could have the run program. Now, in order to have, we has to establish a connection between this JDBC and MySQL. So, for that purpose, I has to go with this. First, you have to go with the project structure. Here, you have to go through modules and next go to dependencies, and here you click on plus symbol and jars and directories. Here, I have installed the MySQL connector jar file and I have pasted it on the desktop. So, I have selected that MySQL connector J here and I have applied the changes. So, here this software and my project is ready to connect with the JDBC as well as I can run the Java database program that could be seen in further sessions. Okay. So, we have seen what is MySQL and MySQL workbench, how you are going to use the IntelliJ software as well as how you can connect the Java API to MySQL using connector J. We have seen. So, this is what the software requirements I need for in order to execute a JDBC program. Now, coming to the summary of this session. So, what we have seen in this session? We have seen the classes and interfaces which can support JDBC. Okay, so coming to the classes, what are the classes that support JDBC are driver manager class, blob, clop, as well as types. So these are the classes. We are excluding this. Partially we won't use further more. So I'm not discuss these. Just we have a list here. We are using driver manager class. So here we have discussed with the driver manager class. When coming to the interfaces, what interfaces we have seen which is used for JDBC are, first one is driver interface, connection interface, statement interface, prepared statement, result set, as well as result set metadata. We go to the quick recap of these interfaces. Driver is used to register a particular driver in order to connect with a JDBC. Connection is register a driver. This is used to register driver. Coming to the connection class is used to establish a connection between MySQL and JDBC. As I am taking or database and JDBC Java programs, and statement is used to execute the static, prepare the static statements, and here prepared statement is used to execute the statement for multiple times with different inputs. So that was the difference between a statement and prepared statement. Result set is used to retrieve the data in the form of records using result set interface, and result set interface metadata is we will retrieve the data in the form of columns. So using result set, we are using result set metadata. These are the classes and interfaces we have seen in this session. Next, we have seen software requirements. What are the software requirements I need for this session in order to execute JDBC programs are, I need MySQL for database. First, in order to first we have to, as we are using JDBC connectivity, right? So I need the softwares of Java as well as I need the softwares for database also, backend also. See here my backend software is MySQL. In order to execute the statements quickly, and I am using the MySQL API as MySQL Workbench. Okay, for easy connecting, to avoid the terminal, I just want to use the API. So I am using MySQL Workbench here. For Java, I have to use the JDK 20.22 version I am taking. And in order to execute these programs, I am using the Java API is IntelliJ is my software. And in order to connect these two, I am using MySQL Connector J. So this is the software which I require in order to execute JDBC programs, and I have shown you how you are going to establish the connection or the physical connection between the Java IntelliJ and MySQL Workbench. Thank you for the session.